talk about the financials first. So the financials are going to be under the financial tab. And I want to go ahead and talk about this invoices submenu. I'm going to go ahead and open up my MemberClick test account as well, just because it's a little bit hard to navigate in here. Rid of some of this other stuff that's a clutter. We're going to go to NCU. I don't think we talked about this. I went to financial invoices for you on the MemberClick test site. I'm going to go to financial and invoices in here, so same place. Of course, this looks a little bit different. Did we talk about this at all last time, or does this look totally new?
Oh, to tell you the truth, I don't remember.
I don't think we talked about
it. Yep. We did set up the revenue accounts. I remember that.
Perfect. So this area is this is our invoice list, and so every invoice that's ever created in MemberClick is going to be brought into your invoice list area. Now you may see some silly things in here because we all test around, but I really just wanted to show you what this is going to look like. So once you've got invoices, this is what yours is going to look like. You'll be able to sort by all different types of invoice status. You can also search for invoices using the search bar in the top right hand, first name, organization, or invoice number. So I know I've got a couple of test invoices here. If I search my first name, obviously it's the invoice for me. Now I can also select any of these column headers, and it's either going to put them in numerical or alphabetical order. I can select it, and now it's going to be numerical, alphabetical. I don't know if I'm saying that. It's going to do it in the reverse order. And so we can select these column headers to do that. So just like if you were working in an Excel document, kind of.
Yeah.
You can also use these statuses up above. So if you only wanted to see the voided invoices for me, we could select the void status, and here they are. Same if we only wanted to see the paid or the open. I'm going to go ahead and X back out of this. We can also, so I just want to view the open invoices for just a second. You can select the invoice number. So if I click on this, it's going to bring me into the invoice itself. Now this is exactly what your invoices are going to look like, but it'll be your logo in the top right-hand corner and your association information in the top left-hand corner.
Okay.
As long as their members have completed info, this will have their address underneath their name as well.
Okay.
And then it'll list membership renewal. It'll list the member type. It'll list their next expiry date, how much they owe in dues. Their invoice, and I'm going to show you how you can add this note section onto your invoices as well.
Okay.
So this is something you actually get to determine. Now, these are external, meaning your members will see these notes, but there's also an internal notes section. So if you voided an invoice and just wanted to put a little reminder as to why you can say, voided due to wrong price or something like that. You can.
This is familiar. I think we did this.
Is it?
Yeah. That, or you know what? I'm also confused because I've been watching the videos, so it's also, I could just be remembering that.
Well, and I think we started to get into it, but I felt like it was a little piecey, so I wanted to come back to it.
It's all good. I'm fine.
Awesome. So, so this will show you at what time you created this little internal note for yourself as well.
Great.
Now, if you have somebody, I think we did talk about this. If somebody sends you in a check or cash or any other type of offline payment, you'll always be able to search your members' invoices, come to the bottom of the invoice, and select Pay Invoice. This will allow their credit card info, maybe they're paying over the phone, or apply that offline payment. And then you can submit that offline payment. You can also create credit invoices, void the invoice, and then they can download their invoice from here, which will allow you to, or allow them or you, either way. You can obviously download it on the back end and print it off as well. So if you end up wanting to send, snail mail, or maybe they want to submit a check, then they wanted to submit a printed version of the invoice, they could do that as well. Now, I mentioned that there's this notes section on your invoice. So next thing that I want to talk about are, actually, let me go back to the invoice list for just a second. I also want you, if you have an individual who calls you and says, I didn't receive my invoice, can you send it somewhere else? You can always find their invoice, tag it, click this email button. This is going to allow you to either email the invoice to a different person, to multiple individuals. And then you can send that one invoice. It's always going to bring in a default email address from that member's profile that you can
from the profile.
Something different. Exactly. You also have the ability to create a PDF and print it off. So a lot of my associations love this because you can, or if you send out reminders for everybody to pay their invoices and you still have, 20 that haven't been paid, you can always select your open, tag all of them at once, and create a PDF, and you can actually print all of those open invoices out at the same time, which makes it really easy. And then you can void from here as well. So then the next thing that I want to talk a little bit about is invoice templates. So I believe we've already talked about the notifications for dues renewals and how those notifications, there's that notifications document that I think you might have sent back to me. I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically there's a document for dues renewals that's going to be verbiage that'll go out with the invoice saying, hey, make sure you pay your dues renewal invoice. It's linked at the bottom of this email. Now, the only thing is, if our system creates any other types of emails for you, whatever, maybe somebody's buying something from you through like a little online store, we might be able to set up, whatever the case may be, want them to just take the form, say they want to buy it, and then them have an open invoice and never receive a reminder that they need to pay that open invoice, right? You always want to make sure there's additional notification. So that's where invoice templates come into play. I'm going to go back into yours. So this invoice template will actually allow us to set up additional notifications to go out for reminders for different types of invoices created in the system. So I've created a default for you. This one you won't need to touch. I have to still apply some type of invoice template to the dues renewal area, but we don't need verbiage because the verbiage is already coming from the dues renewal document that you gave me. It's coming from another bucket in a way. So in here, we just need to create new invoice templates, maybe for new members. So if somebody takes a membership application, you're going to want invoice notification, that new member reminding them that they need to pay that invoice. Now, if they have to pay at time of becoming a member, at time of filling out a membership application,
that's what they'll do.
Yeah, so you won't need reminders, but you will need to set up a payment notification email saying thanks for your payment, right?
Right.
So in that case, you would also turn this one on, make sure you edit the email, and you'll need to put in some verbiage in here. Thank you for your payment. We look forward to building a relationship, or something like that.
Right. So or direct them to what they can start with, or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Reiterate membership dues. However you want to do that. Exactly. So you'll want to. So what I always suggest, I'm going to send this to you. I'll send this to you to make sure you complete it after our training today. This is something that would be typically part of homework training from our database training. So basically what and is just starting off by making a list of all the different types of invoices you think our system will create for you. So if that's for events, donations, partnerships, whatever it may be. I would start off by making that list, and then I would actually come into member clicks and create an invoice template for every single type of invoice the system's going to create for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, except for I'm wondering if that's the most effective use of our time, because the only thing that we need in play, is to be able to accept the news for 2018 online, and that's the only type of income we're going to have for the first 6 months. So I think there's so many other things to do to get this thing going in time. I'm thinking setting up a bunch of invoice templates makes sense.
Okay. So if you don't want to do that right now, you don't have to, but maybe at least for the new members.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So I think I just want to work on the one. Yeah.
Okay. That makes total sense. The next item
is on new member invoice, and if they are essentially joining, it's like a join now type thing, because everybody, I'm pretty sure I don't want to dump in a database. Well, actually, maybe you can help me. We'll talk through this a second. So my thought was, since it's all about 2018, but trying to get people to, since the other networks are not available to them in 2018, getting them in November to sign up for next year. Now,
right.
So the original thought was everybody's a new member. And all of the e-blasts and everything to try and encourage these other ones to are sent from the databases of the companies I bought,
Right.
Or so that was the first. I guess then but there may be other better ways to do it. I mean, I could import.
Yeah. I think we talked last time about how I can do mass imports of your list, and I can do that for you. And then that way, I guess where I usually go to with some of my other, I don't know, sending somebody an invoice. Thanks for your, continued membership, blah, 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 whatever. You can pay your invoice to continue your membership with us below. I'm pretty likely to go in there, open the invoice, and pay it. If I've been a member, right. I know, what this is. If you say, welcome to our new site, go take this membership application so we can make sure we have the correct information on you, I'm probably going to say, I don't have time to do that right now. I'll come back and I'll do it later. And that's just me. And then I may end up not doing it. Whereas if I just have an invoice in front of me, I think that there's a larger chance of me paying it.
Okay, so of the there's two networks that, it was the slipcover network. There's only 40 members there, so I really don't care about that. But the other one, the drapery and design one, where I think there's 700 to 800, I did figure out where their stuff is being managed, where their membership is being managed now. Let me find that. Here we go. Currently, membership software is getresponse.com. Are you familiar with that at all? And we have a service agreement with them until 11:30. So I'm wondering if we shouldn't be kind of seeing if we can export and import that whole list.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you know what category these individuals would need to be a part of?
Yes. Well, they were only there was only the pro level, but she offered a pro level that was monthly. It was only $6.50 a month, which I'm likely not to even offer that. To me, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
It's just like too many transactions, not even worth it. Yeah, so I can be firm about that. So I so basically we one level. So what should I do? Should I go to the get response and see if I can export a CSV, and then we see what we can do to work with that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, and with the so then they would essentially be, they wouldn't have to update all information, right? So it might be a much more smooth transition.
Exactly.
Okay. I think we should explore that. So my task list then is to see if I can export a CSV, and then we'll want to then look at the information that is stored in there
Yeah.
as, now here's the thing, I don't know if the information stored in there is the same as, see, there's also this V bulletin that is essentially the forum, which is what they were paying for.
Mhm.
It wasn't, it only was a forum, what the thing, yeah. Um, I don't know if there's like their directory listing and all that is actually bulletin, and this piece was just membership, payment, info. Get in there and dig around and see, and then export the CSV and see if that's something we can just start with.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And if it looks good, then we can import it. And instead of starting, we would just be able to like kind of start by sending them new invoices. Worst case scenario is if it stinks, then we can just, start fresh and send them membership applications and they can just register as new members.
Yeah.
So that's a great
Okay.
idea.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just be.
Yeah, I think we're more likely, even though it's technically not a renewal, it from their perspective, it's going to feel like it. So we might as well make it.
If it feels congruent with what they're kind of expect, if it feels like
Yeah.
something that's thinking, and like I've had a couple of associations come through and they're like, oh, we haven't emailed our members about dues in 5 years or 3 years.
Right.
And they're like, we just are going to have everybody sign as new. I'm like, people are less likely to take a membership application than to just pay an invoice.
Exactly. If at least their name's on it, even if there's not the address is complete and everything, but if their name's on it, they're more likely.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So just a thought.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, I think that's a good thought. Okay, so that's definitely kind of moved up on my priority list. Although I will, the breakdown of the website, things that,
The
because I
design
feel like you guys, yeah, since you guys are going to need some time to set that up, I think I got to get that to you. Now know that we're still kind of clear on this idea that I want the template for the website set up and the homepage, but we don't have to have content on every page. That can all say coming 2008. Really aren't going to, they're paying for the 218 membership. And so they shouldn't have access to that content yet. And anyway, I mean, it could start to build in late November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense
Okay.
to me.
All right. So I have to go to get response, see if I can export a CSV. And I actually would love to do that so I don't have to renew.
Like we also make good discoveries on our calls, so that's okay.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not worried because I think because of the timing of this, we have to jump around and kind of do things that have to
Right.
get done first. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So one other tab in here in the invoices that I'm also going to ask for you to go ahead and complete the invoice settings. This
Okay.
is super easy peasy. You're just going to upload the logo that you appear on your invoice directly from. You just upload your organization logo, you grab it, open. Note that it needs to be 200 by 200.
Okay.
Or that's the maximum size it can be, I should say.
Okay.
You're going to put in your organization information. That's going to be what shows up in the left-hand side of the invoice. So that would be where the your association name is, and then it'll have your address. And then the invoice number is going to be what invoice number you want to start at. So that can be 1,500, it can be 1, whatever you want it to be with that area. And that's all you have to do for this.
Okay.
We've already talked about our revenue accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have any additional revenue accounts, we'll need to add them in as well. And I think we talked through that process of just selecting add new revenue account. And then it's going to bring a pop-up and you'll put in the revenue account name. This is new. This is really cool. If it's dues revenue, toggle on dues. If you guys happen to do cash-based financials, or if your financial system is cash-based, you can toggle on. If it's not by default, it's accrual-based. Usually it's you guys use accrual is what I've learned. This we just added for actually another one of my associations that does cash-based, which is kind of cool to actually get to see an upgrade happen that fast. They did an awesome job with that. Anyway, so
Nice.
So we talked about that.
The default is accrual. I haven't set it in QuickBooks yet. I think the default is accrual in QuickBooks too.
It is, and most people use accrual.
Yeah, I think I might be required in this state as an LLC to do accrual anyway. So
that's interesting. I didn't know that there was.
Oh yeah, in certain states, depending on the type of organization, you might be required, to do one or the other. Well, nobody ever requires cash. You might be required to do accrual.
Gotcha. Absolutely, that makes sense. Okay. And then lastly, we've just got our payment. So speaking with the financial system. Now, when you get ready to do an import from MemberClick to QuickBooks, you're going to get a financial and transaction. Now, we're going to go through this together as you get closer to that date, or our help team will go through it with you.
Yeah.
One of the two, but basically, you'll be able to sort your transaction by date, by revenue account, by transaction type, by payment type, and by credit card type. And you'll be able to export. Now, you are QuickBooks Desktop, is that right?
No, online.
So with QuickBooks Online, I'm going to send you a financial kind of outline that's going to talk to you about what you'll need to do. There's an app that QuickBooks Online requires most of these software systems to use. Basically, it's going to take the report that you'll pull from MemberClick and reformat it. This app does to fit QuickBooks.
Okay.
And import it. The app is really inexpensive. I'll send you. I think we even give you like an app referred or a preferred app, I should say, to use in our little document. on financials. You can use any one that you want. Ours is the cheapest that we put in that little document. But then basically you're going to export to a CSV. You're going to run it through this app, and then it's going to run through QuickBooks. We're going to want to do a backup of your QuickBooks, so if there's any mapping problems, then we can just wipe it back the way it was.
It's a brand new QuickBooks, so we'll be fine with that. I mean, there's only a few transactions. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's good.
So,
the other thing I might do is I might not even have income. I might keep income in member clicks and only have expenses in QuickBooks and just bring income in with the bank transactions.
Okay.
So that it's automatic. It just goes with the automatic bank transactions, and it's just kind of in a lump. And so I'm not transferring invoices necessarily, just total income.
Yeah.
And that may be just the way I go. It just doesn't. I mean, I need the detail, but I don't need the detail in both places.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, so I might keep it simple and not even worry about that.
Okay. Cool. So we'll revisit this definitely again as you start to have transactions go on in the system. And then just to note, this is of course going to be where the debit and credit are listed. So you won't just see a line item. You're going to see the sales and the payment, because that's what creates the C chart and zeroes out the account.
Okay.
So sometimes people get in here and they're like, everything's being accounted for twice, but that's just what it's supposed to be doing in this area. In the financial invoices area, you will only see one invoice per transaction. So to me, this is a little bit easier to digest.
Yeah.
All right. Now, one thing that we had talked about last time that I wanted, before I keep moving, any questions on financials before I move past that?
No, not at all. That's all very nice.
So something else that I wanted to mention to you or talk about are custom attributes. Now, I think we talked about that last time, and you were going to maybe think about putting a little list together of some custom attributes to collect on your member. Remember us talking about that?
Yeah, I remember us talking about it, but I didn't actually get to start creating that list.
That is totally fine. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't bypassing that if you have worked on it. So you can keep putting your brain on it and see if you can think of a couple, and we can enter them in together next time.
Give me another example of custom attribute. Oh, I know what. Let me see what they're already doing in the other network.
Okay.
And have that kind of drive, yeah.
Maybe some things database that you pull out that are being collected as well. This specific, a ton of custom attributes that are really just about building their members' demographics. If I go to database and attributes, so they've got like everything. Are you a business owner? Bio, country of origin, gender. How did you hear about us is always a good one. How many years of professional experience you have? What industry do you work in?
Yeah, there's basically we always ask the question because we're all in the same. But are you trade only, retail, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
What do you fabricate? Do you do slipcovers, upholstery, window treatments? Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, those are great. Do you want me to go ahead and add that one in since we're thinking about it, or do you want me to not worry about it?
Don't worry about it. Let me see what they're already doing.
Okay.
And I'm probably just going to make it like that and maybe up a little bit.
Yep, that sounds perfect.
Okay, so check network now.
Okay, build attributes. So I think the last things on our list, we were going to build the attributes, and then we talked about building an advanced search. Maybe, I guess, for your members to search one another. But we
like a Find a Pro tab, where if they wanted to publish their details or a select set of details, that's a separate page, right?
Exactly.
Do we need to make sure that the attributes that needed to be in the Find a Pro appropriately listed, or they just need to be one of the attributes?
Depends on how many attributes they might be able to, or you might want them to be able to share. So there's kind of two ways, either under database and member type. Database and attributes, we could create separate labels like public directory, physical address, public directory, phone number, public directory, email address. Now, something else that one of my associations just did is I can actually set up a search and where people can search for individuals. And when they do that, there's like a requirement for them to have a custom attribute that says, do you want to be in the directory, yes or no? And they have to have checked yes in order to show up in the directory. So that's another approach we could take as well. It wouldn't give them the flexibility to pick and choose what they want in the directory and what they don't want in the directory. Basically, it would be all or nothing. Either they show up or they don't show up. So that's just up to you as to if you want them to have the ability to, maybe they want to share their phone number, but not their address, or their email, but not their phone number. Then you can give them the ability to pick and choose what they choose to share, or just give them either an all or nothing. Either you're in the directory or you're not, period. You can kind of, those are the two options.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I'm trying to think through the pros and cons of each of those. And I think I'm going to talk to a couple people there. There's another trade association who does that, and the problem when it is pick and choose is that they don't always update one. You know, like we have the public one ends up being old, and they only
So there's like discrepancies.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense.
But if it's okay, let me just understand something though. If it is just choose, add to public directory, if that is an option, we still overall get to pick which attributes are listed in the public. They just don't, right?
Yes, correct.
Like the how did you hear about us doesn't necessarily have to go over there, or so then maybe what we do is I'm leaning to that, like the choice yes or no public directory. And I think in the descriptions, like email address, I think we have a little in parentheses, this would be in the public directory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that'd be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right about them updating one area, not the other.
Yeah.
And they could just be a checkbox. I want to be in the directory. I don't want to be in the directory. And then that would pull in who gets to pop in.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't like people having different faces too.
That makes sense. Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I think I'm going to do it that way. So for the note about that, it's just the check add to public directly. So that's an attribute. Add to public directory is an attribute.
Yep, and I'm actually going to go ahead and create that.
Okay.
I'm just going to say, would you like to be in the public directory?
Yeah, we'll call it a Find a Pro directory.
And the options will be yes or no.
Yeah. And then another attribute is you know, what services do you offer?
Okay.
And there'll be a little claimer there. This, you know, this will be in the public directory, and then they would.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any services you want me to list, or do you need to think about it?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do slip covers.
Okay.
Upholstery.
Will you spell that for me?
REU. REU PHOLST. There we go. ERY.
Got it. Okay.
Upholstery, great. Window treatments. Window treatments, design services.
Got it.
Okay, that's good enough for now.
And we can always throw those
Yeah.
in alphabetical save. Cool. And if you think of any others.
And is there a thing where you know?
Yeah, we can create another. So basically what we would do is say down at the bottom, other, and then what we might want to do is create another custom attribute, and it's called services other, where they can just type in whatever they want it to like say.
Yeah.
And then if you ever see one that pops up all the time, add it to that list.
Exactly. Okay, great. Okay, now let me just understand where you are here. You were under what overall tab? Database, attributes. Got it.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
exactly right.
Okay,
now,
that's great.
If I am not mistaken, I think that we have some time scheduled to come on Wednesday. Is that right?
I thought it was Thursday, but let me double check.
You're right. It's Thursday at the same time. That's exactly
Mm-hmm.
right. Cool. Well,
Yeah. Stuff tomorrow.